If you are listening closely, let me tell you a story that sailors once whispered only when the wind was strong enough to carry secrets away. A story of a lost European kingdom hidden beyond the seven seas, where maps faded into myth and memory was sharper than steel. Long ago, before borders were fixed and oceans were named, there was a kingdom called Aurelion. It lay somewhere beyond the western waters, past seven restless seas that no compass could fully tame. Aurelion was said to be built of pale stone that caught the sun like gold, with towers that rose above the mist and bells that rang not for time, but for remembrance. The strange thing was this: Aurelion had not fallen to war, fire, or plague. It had simply disappeared. In the coastal cities of Europe, old sailors spoke of it in low voices. They said ships that sailed too far west sometimes returned with holds full of unfamiliar coins stamped with a crowned sun. Others never returned at all, and some captains swore that on certain dawns, when the sea lay flat as glass, they had seen a city on the horizon, white towers floating above the water, only to watch it fade when the sun climbed higher. Most people dismissed these stories as sea madness, but not Elian. Elian was the son of a lighthouse keeper on a rocky coast where storms broke ships like toys. He grew up with salt in his hair and stories in his blood. His father had taught him to read the sea the way others read books, by its moods, its silences, its lies. And before his father died, he left Elian one thing: a chart. It was not a proper map. The parchment was old and stained, the ink faded. It showed coastlines that no longer matched the world, and at its center were 7 circles drawn like ripples in water. Beyond the 7th circle, there was nothing except a single word, written in a careful hand: Aurelion. Elian, his father had said weakly, some places are lost because they must be, others are hidden because they were betrayed. Never confuse the two. Those words haunted Elian. Years later, when his father was gone and the lighthouse stood silent, Elian made a choice that would change his life. He sold what little he owned, bought passage on a merchant ship, and set sail, not for trade, but for truth. The first sea was calm and blue, welcoming as a lie told kindly. The second churned with storms that tore sails and tested resolve. The third was fog-bound, where days passed without sun or stars, and men spoke less and less, as if afraid their voices would be taken. By the 4th sea, the compass began to falter. By the 5th, the water grew unnaturally still, reflecting the sky too perfectly, as if the world had doubled itself. On the 6th sea, Elian heard singing at night, not from the crew, but from the water itself, soft, sorrowful songs in a language he did not know, but somehow understood. And then came the 7th sea. There the horizon bent, the air grew heavy like a held breath. Birds vanished, the wind died, the ship drifted forward as if pulled by an unseen tide. One by one, the crew refused to go farther. Some prayed, some wept, some begged Elian to turn back. At dawn, a wall of mist rose before them, and within it, bells, clear, distant bells, ringing in slow, solemn rhythm. Elian took a small boat and went alone. The mist swallowed him. When it cleared, he was no longer on the open sea. Before him rose Aurelion, The city stood upon cliffs of white stone, its walls untouched by age. Bridges arched gracefully over deep channels of water. Banners hung motionless in the air, bearing the symbol of a crowned sun. And yet there was no movement, no smoke, no voices. Elian stepped onto the shore, his heart pounding. The streets were empty, but not abandoned. Doors stood open. Tables were set as if meals had been interrupted moments before. A single apple lay half-bitten on a windowsill, unspoiled by time. "This place is not dead," Elian whispered. "It is waiting." At the heart of the city stood a great hall. Its doors opened at his touch. Inside he found them, the people of Aurelion. They stood frozen in place, men, women, children, caught mid-step, mid-gesture, mid-breath. Their eyes were open, aware, filled with centuries of quiet fear. They were alive, but bound. From the shadows emerged a figure robed in silver and ash. "You have crossed the 7 seas," the figure said calmly. "Who are you?" Elian asked. "I am the warden of the veil, keeper of what was hidden." Elian's voice trembled. "Why is this kingdom lost?" The warden's gaze darkened. "Because Aurelion chose truth over obedience. Long ago, the kingdoms of Europe had demanded Aurelion's allegiance, its ships, its knowledge, its secrets of navigation in stars. Aurelion refused. It would not help conquer, enslave, or erase. So the other kingdoms struck a bargain. They did not destroy Aurelion, they erased it. With ancient magic and collective will, they pushed it beyond the 7 seas, sealing it behind mist and memory, feeding the world a lie. Aurelion never existed. "But the cost," the warden said softly, "was terrible. To remain hidden, Aurelion had to stop moving forward. Time was bound, life was paused." Elian clenched his fists, then unbind it. The warden studied him. "That is why you were allowed to find us. But understand this, if Aurelion returns, the lie will break. History will rewrite itself. Kingdoms built on silence will fall. Wars may follow." Elian thought of his father's words. "Some places are lost because they were betrayed. Truth has a cost, but so does silence." The warden nodded once. "Then you must choose." At the heart of the hall stood a great bell rope untouched for centuries. "If you ring it, Aurelion will return to the world. Time will resume, but you will not leave as you are. The 7 seas do not give without taking." Elian stepped forward. He rang the bell. The sound rolled like thunder across the city. Stone warmed, air moved. People gasped as breath returned to their lungs. Children cried, fires reignited. The city lived, and the sea answered. Waves rose, the mist tore apart. The 7th sea shattered like glass. When Elian awoke, he lay on a familiar shore. The lighthouse stood behind him, newly repaired. Ships crowded the harbor, and on the horizon where there had once been nothing, rose white cliffs crowned with towers. Aurelion had returned. But Elian's reflection in the water had changed. His hair was streaked with silver, his eyes held centuries. He had paid the price. History would remember Aurelion, songs would be sung, kingdoms would argue, deny, and tremble. But Elian did not seek praise. He walked once more to the lighthouse, climbed its steps, and lit the flame. And if you ever stand on a western shore at dawn and hear bells carried over the water, remember this: some kingdoms are not lost. They are waiting for someone brave enough to cross the 7 seas and tell the truth back into the world. Thank you all for listening to the story. Please support me with a like and a channel subscription. Wishing you all the best in life.